You're back home for the holidays. Thanksgiving's right around the corner, and there's one plate that is just set up on the table for us. It's college football rivalry week. It is the last full slate of college football. We're taking advantage. We're making money. Welcome to College Football Week 14 Best Bets episode. Welcome, football fans, to another edition of the D-Gen Talks here on the GFSG Plus channel. It's week 14. You think I would have it down by now, but hey, it's a college football show. Things have been getting a little crazy with the schedule, holidays, yada, yada, yada. But we are here, folks, and who are we? We're the D-Gen Jocks, and I am the doc here, one of your hosts, but more importantly, I'm joined by my co-host, Mr. Derek Bennett, aka Professor Locks. How we doing tonight, brother? Today, tonight, wherever time zone, whatever space we are.
Yeah, man. I mean, this is not a work day. I mean, this is Wednesday. Both of us are on vacation. You know, I as a college professor, we take that Wednesday, or we get that Wednesday off as well. And you've been going down to the homelands.
Yes, I've been off all week because me as in military, person, I get leave. So I decided, you know what, let's take it off. But
Right.
What's up, folks? Look, this is the NFL college football rivalry week 14 best bets episode. As you can tell, look, it's been a long week of drinking and having fun, and I hope you are home for the holidays and enjoying. But let's be honest, we want to bet on football, and college football is the greatest thing ever. So whether you love your family or you're not looking forward to it, college football is always there for us. So we are going to do our college football show. It's a six pack, and fittingly, last full slate, figured I'd wrap out my own six pack for this episode. But the way that we're doing this is we are breaking down our six favorite games from a betting standpoint. So we're going to break through the six games that we love. Again, mostly going to be a lot of rivalry games because it's rivalry week, and that's where we feel like we get some good action. But then we'll do a lock, moneyline dog, parlay, and a tease for our best bet section at the end. We will talk a little bit of takeaways. I was back in the homeland, back in the stomping grounds of the swamp last weekend.
How'd that go?
Show. Yeah, that shit show that was there. I only have a half memory, so don't expect a full recap there. And then we will do our probably final edition of college football playoff predictions. But yeah, let's go ahead and let's just start with the pain. First off, hey, first time joining. If you're catching us here, we will do conference championships. We'll do the playoff.
Cheers
to you. Also, cheers to you, those who have been rocking with us all season long. Thank you. Hopefully, you've been cashing these winners with us. We're having some fun with this episode. Obviously, the schedule is all messed up. Mostly my fault with all the travel and things going on. But we know we got to get these winners out to you. Now, something that was not a winner. Last week, we had a pretty damn good week. Two futures came through for us. We were both 4-2. We'll talk about the little recap there. But yeah, I went back to the old stomping grounds. Bought these tickets in the offseason, brought the wife to the swamp for the first time. Got to kick the old tire, see what was going on. Yep. Beautiful weather, game day. We started drinking at like 10. It's just hard to not drink beer when it's beautiful outside and people are ready to beat the Tennessee Volunteers.
Right.
Hadn't won there since 2003. Down year. Figured, hey, Gators can at least get this done. What an absolute shit show that was. I was a shit show because I was probably 10 hours into drinking by the time we got there. And then, yeah.
You're just trying to do your part.
I was, getting up, yelling, whatever. It was rowdy. I mean, 90,000 plus people there, right? It was a sold out stadium for even a shit team, but rivalries matter down there in Gainesville. And man, one of the most embarrassing experiences I remember being a fan at, like, that might be the worst. I do not like to leave games early at all. I had to leave for my own mental health, man. Me and the buddies, like, we just hit the bars. My wife and a couple of our other friends stayed because she was just enjoying the moment and whatever as kind of a bystander more of just you want to do the won't back down and all those type of things.
Sure.
But man, I've never seen so many people leave at half. That was just an absolute beat down embarrassment. And look, we don't have to spend too much time of me sulking about how shitty the team is, but Scott Strickland, if Mr. Lane Kiffin here does not pick the visor in the middle and is not the next coach of the 48ers, we're gonna have some problems. Okay. My goodness. Where are you at with the Kiffin situation as a more unbiased kind of observer? Do you think he even has any idea? Do you think there's a lead dog in the race? Where are you at with it?
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, I hope he stays at Ole Miss. I don't think he will, though. I think the ability to go to a place like LSU, and have the recruiting advantage that is Louisiana, have the basically entire university as well as the governor on your side.
Maybe
When it
until he
comes
doesn't
to
want to pay you.
the LSU Tigers, I think that's a pretty big. Um, yeah, I don't know if he could necessarily pass that one up.
Yeah.
At the same time, yeah, I don't know. Who wherever Kiffin decides to go, I don't know who the other two are going to get. Is it a Kenny Dillingham from ASU? Is it a
Yeah. Lincoln
uh,
Riley, there's flown out.
Yep,
Summerall. It's
right,
I don't think anybody really knows. I would say trying to be unbiased. Obviously, it's impossible for me to be
sure,
unbiased. But I don't know how you look at the Brian Kelly situation and what's going on down there, where they won't pay him, and there's
right,
lawsuits and all this ugliness going on.
yeah,
I don't know how you look at that situation as a potential coach and want to go into that,
yeah,
especially if they're talking about the money's the same.
yep,
So I still think it's Florida or Ole Miss. I think Florida has the benefit of the Steve Spurrier. That's like his hero and role model.
good
His
point.
his ex-wife's, that's where they met at the swamp, which it's ex-wife. So, but like the father-in-law, he was
Sure,
a legend there. So I think
yep,
there's more familial ties. And if
yeah,
he truly does give a shit about any of that, I think that's
yeah.
the advantage.
No,
But
I ultimately, I think, like I
it's
said, I
hard to
hope
be
that he stays at
confident
Ole Miss.
because
I think he goes to LSU. But
where
I
all the smoke is right now. So
Right,
I would
and
say
that's
you're
kind of why I'm leaning that way. I just haven't heard much about Florida, like you said. He does have some familial ties down there. I
yeah,
think just what he's built there at Ole Miss over the past few years, especially this year. I mean, they're what 10-1,
right. Yeah, I mean they're
and
almost a
they're
playoff
in
lock.
as long as
Maybe.
they win in the Egg Bowl on Friday, which one that's all screwy because they should be playing on Thursday night. But
Yeah.
if they win easily a home playoff game down there in Ole Miss, and you can't tell me that it's that terribly different. Um, recruiting wise, whether it's Ole Miss, Florida, LSU. I know that there's some like
Yeah, it's
direct ties to the Gators, to the Tigers,
right.
being in those states, but you're still in the SEC. You're still, you have a winning program there at Ole Miss. It has to be hard to step away from that. I'm wondering if this is just like a chess game and just trying to push off the decision as far or as long as he can to basically hinder either the Gators or LSU.
Yeah, I mean, my thing is like, if he is going to stay at Ole Miss, why is he doing all this? Like, you are creating a huge distraction for a team that still has national title
Yeah, that's fair.
aspirations, right?
That's fair.
But
And especially with college kids, like he could go out and say, "Hey, guys, I'm staying here. Don't
right.
worry
He
about
could
all
sign
this."
the extension. It's been on his desk for 2 months.
Yeah,
I don't know. These guys are kind of crazy, to be honest. So I don't think we need to try to get into Lane Kiffin's mind anymore because that might be a dangerous spot.
no
But
shit.
I'm kind of. I think all fans bases are basically ready for it to happen. I
Yeah,
think after the Egg Bowl, man, if they lose the Egg Bowl, that'd be crazy. But I mean, we're not talking about that game, but that is a lot of crazy potential because there are 18,
no doubt.
19, 20-year-old kids. Like, how are they going to be reacting to all this? But only other thing we want to touch on real quick: North Texas head coach Eric Morris,
Going up
who's
to
big
Oklahoma
news.
State.
Yeah, he's going to replace Mike Gundy, which is always a
Yeah,
scary thing to step in and replace an absolute legend in the mullet
yeah.
up there. who kind of got the raw end of a deal. I hope Mike Gundy still comes and coaches somebody. I think there's a desire there, according to some reports. But yeah, Eric Morris, it looks like that job is enough for Thamel and the ESPN heads to tweet it out like it's finalized.
Yeah.
As someone who has a North
Done a hell of a
Texas.
job down there in North Texas.
Yeah, as someone who they've done well in Denton, but as someone who has a CFP ticket for North Texas, I kind of hate this. So we'll see. We'll get to the projections there, but just kind of big enough news we want to touch on. But hey, yeah, week 13 last week, we were both 4-2, both solid, profitable. Derek hit his lock. I hit my money line dog and my teaser. We also, what is that? 8-4 for the show. So cheers to you, brother. Good shit there. As you can tell, I'm drinking more in this episode. It's vacation, baby. This is my vacation episode. So hopefully you're watching this and having a cold one as well. But two futures came in, man. FSU under 6.5 at plus 125. We gave that out on. They are officially, they can't get to 7 wins. They play the Gators to hopefully we'll keep them out of a bowl. It's going to be the toilet bowl right now. Both teams in the gutter. Yeah. But that was fun. Friday night in Gainesville, being blasted and watching with everyone else who hates FSU, and watching them lose by muffing 2 punts in a row into NC State. That was fun to watch. Saturday, from a fan perspective, not as fun, but that was a good time. And then Washington over 7.5, beating UCLA, who's kind of had like a little bit of a bump and then just has really looked like shit the last couple weeks. So Washington over 7.5 plus 110, all plus money. So we'll see, but there's a couple more to be decided. But futures wise, man, episode, hopefully you watched that college football season preview. I know Derek gave out some nice plays, bigger, juicier plays in the college football playoff prediction market. But the actual just win totals, we're crushing it. So we'll do a recap next week when they're all said and done. But very, very excited with the profit that's rolling in. Always nice for season-long bets.
Yeah, you might as well go ahead and lock up my college football playoff tickets as well with Texas A&M and Texas Tech. I mean, I don't know if it really matters.
I would be. I don't know, man. I like with this committee, I would say Texas A&M, yes. Texas Tech, dude, they just look like they're trying to. If you're not Big Ten or SEC, the committee is out for you. So Texas Tech, like if they lose in Morgantown or they lose they're 24.5 point favorites. I will be on the points there. But if they lose the Big 12 championship game to likely BYU, who knows? I think they should be in to that extent, but I just don't want I don't want this to be another Maryland situation.
I know. I'm not like you crowning my my Maryland over pick.
You got one more game.
You've got one more
from 4-0 to
having 4.5. I'm still waiting on that half.
Well, we'll see. Who do they have? Do you know who they have this week? I think it's like Rutgers, right?
It's Rutgers, I believe. Yeah.
Well, I'll be rooting for that shade of red.
I might have to put some money on Rutgers just to
just hedge yourself a little bit.
Balance. Yeah. No, I probably will take a look at that line. I haven't looked at that one yet.
Yeah, maybe protect yourself a little bit there. But all right, brother, let's talk about these 2025 college football playoff predictions here. I don't think a ton's probably changed because a lot of things kind of went the way that we likely saw them going.
Yeah.
Okay, so top 4 are all the same for us. A little bit of different order. That's just about who do you think wins the basically. I think that Indiana wins Big 12. Do you think Ohio State does? That's kind of the only discrepancy there. And then Texas Tech, we believe if they went out, they deserve the 4 slot over someone like Ole Miss or Georgia or Oregon. We'll see what the committee does. That's always a little bit iffy. We both have Oregon in there. I think win or lose. I mean, I don't know, 10-2, maybe, but I don't think Washington, despite winning 8 games and potentially 9, I don't think they're that good. And I think Oregon's actually pretty good. I don't know, man. Oregon's a weird team. But I do think they're better than Washington. So I think they win, and they're clearly in. We obviously both with Ole Miss. No crazy Egg Bowl, which is we'll see. I mean, does have a little bit of potential. Ole Miss, if they're 10-2, I would still think they might be in. But they did say something of like they put out already that if Kiffin leaves, they will take that into consideration.
Correct.
Which is kind of insane. Because it's like is it the team? Like it is, and this is the Jordan Travis precedent
Right.
of
It's not the
you know
same team without the starting quarterbacks, head
yeah, and
coach,
the
kind
head
of a thing.
coach, right?
Yeah.
That would be college football. It's crazy and it's fun, but like you gotta there's gotta get some rules, man, between
Yeah.
the transferring every year,
See what
NIL,
as
the
far as the
committee
CF
that decides who plays in this
yeah.
playoff.
Yeah.
Like,
So as far as the CFP goes, I hope that they go to keep the committee, keep the
why though?
eye
These
test and
fans don't
things in
fucking
there,
watch football.
but also have your BCS algorithm or whatever,
Sure. Yeah.
and like let's compare the two, and let's see
Yeah,
what
but
the
if they
average would necessarily be after you look at humans looking at it plus computer algorithm.
yeah, as you see me double fisting with water.
There you go.
I spent this morning at the beach because you can do that in Florida. So shout out to Florida. But no, yeah, man. My only thing is like if you keep the committee is not going to want to compare themselves to an objective algorithm, which
Yeah,
is it tells you the corruption and the reason why I don't think we should have a committee. Especially a bunch of old guys on the East Coast that clearly don't watch football, and if they do, they don't. They're in bed they're like you.
yeah,
They're in bed before the night games are kicking off.
that's
So,
right.
I don't know, man. It's just it's kind of sad to see all this corruption and stuff go into it, but college football is still awesome. We're gonna watch it,
Oh
so
yeah,
we can only
no doubt.
bellyache so much.
But yeah,
So
no, the bottom six here is where things start to get a little bit more interesting because
yeah,
you have Bama at that 7 spot. I have them all the way down at 10.
that's probably closer to where they should be. Yeah,
Basically the reason why I still have Georgia, even though head to head Bama took care of them,
right.
is because assuming that Georgia wins
Yeah,
this weekend,
they
I
only have
think
one loss.
they'll only have the one loss, and their second loss would come in the SEC championship to Texas A&M. I don't think the committee's going to.
I don't even
Uh,
think they get in. Or
what do you mean?
yeah, they wouldn't get in. Well, so if Bama and Texas A&M win, they're in. So
Right.
Georgia wouldn't even. So Georgia, only way Georgia gets in is if one of those teams loses and they win. So Georgia would be 11 and
Wait. So
1
so Bama, if Bama wins this
because their
weekend,
other
they
losses
play in the SEC.
outside of yeah, because their other loss is out is FSU,
Well, yeah, but Georgia still only has one loss, and then it's just a
but
head
they
to
have
head
the head
thing.
to head. They go head to head
Okay.
first. So yeah, this is also a whole another thing
This
that
is
there's no
the funky part
standardization.
too here. Yeah.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
no
Yeah.
standardization amongst the
So,
conferences.
okay, never mind then. Bama loses an SEC championship. They stay about where they are because you're not going to necessarily hinder
Right.
a team from playing an extra game.
Right. Yeah, no, I probably should have that down. My thing is I think there's a real possibility Georgia loses. And now we're going
Yeah,
to talk about that game.
sure.
Because I'm still not sold on Georgia. Although, this past couple weeks they played School of Death in the Blind and they
Yeah,
took care of Texas, but they've been looking more and more like a legitimate team than a couple weeks ago. But
right.
I still think there's a chance Georgia Tech can get that done. So that's the reason we have them essentially flipped. Both have Notre Dame. They're gonna beat Stanford at Stanford,
Yep.
which is hilarious. 10:30 kick
Yeah.
on like Eastern time. I think that's so funny because like join a conference, you assholes. Yeah, no Notre Dame. I think they're in. You think Oklahoma? I have Vanderbilt.
Yep.
A little bit because I have a 12-1 on them. And I do. We're going to talk about the Tennessee game. I think
Yeah.
we disagree on who comes out there with the Tennessee
Yep.
game, so it's kind of a mute point. I
Yep.
also think LSU has more of a. I think Oklahoma is more on upset potential than Vanderbilt
I think
is.
yeah,
Vegas
those are both
wouldn't
gonna
tell
be
you,
really interesting games.
but yes, and we'll see if Nussmeier is going to play though. I don't know if we have official
Right.
rule on that. And I
Right.
mean, I know he's looking towards the NFL, so maybe he won't, but who knows? Okay, and then we both got. So that's where Oklahoma Vanderbilt comes in. Other
Yep.
teams are the same. You've got
Yep.
Virginia winning the ACC.
Yep.
I think Pitt can get in there, which we'll talk about their game in a little bit.
Yep.
And then you've got James Madison. I got North Texas.
Yep.
I think the committee had like Tulane as their predictions
Tulane
or
at like
whatever.
24 or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, but they're all like 23,
And North
24.
Texas would play Tulane in the AAC.
Assuming both teams win this week, which I think
Right.
North Texas is like a 19 and a half point favorite over Temple, and I
Yeah.
think Tulane's a big favorite. James
Correct.
Madison is expected to get in and play in the Sun Belt against either Southern Miss or Troy, who play this week.
Yep.
So that's basically a mini like because they're still in division. So the winner of the
Right.
Sun Belt or the winner of the Southern Miss Troy game will play James Madison in the Sun Belt. So James Madison just needs to win out,
Yep.
and I guess hope that they'll be like 12-1, and I think if North Texas wins, they value the AAC more, so
Correct.
their 12-1 would be better.
Yep.
Sounds like even if Tulane wins, even with their 2 losses, they still might. I
Yeah.
don't have no idea how they're going to compare
Yep.
because there's no real litmus test for these group of 5 teams, so it's kind of a bit of shot in the dark, and that's what the betting markets show. Is they're all kind of like they were all around like plus 150 to plus 250
Right.
essentially because they don't really know how that's going to go down. But obviously, whoever wins out has a good shot opportunity. So that's
Yep.
our really only difference is, the ACC is an absolute who knows.
It's a
But if
cluster.
Virginia and SMU win, they're
Yep.
in. So that's the clearest, cleanest. Pitt needs one of those 2 teams to lose, and obviously beating Miami.
Mhm.
Duke still has a chance. It's like basically Virginia and SMU have the top shots. Then it's Pitt. Then it's Duke, and then it's Miami. So
Right.
Miami needs a lot of stuff to happen to get to the
Mhm.
ACC championship. But the way that they're ranked in the committee, like, is there a chance they could like? I don't know. Like, if say Duke wins with like 4 losses with the ACC, do they
Right.
put Miami in over them because they won't be the 5th highest ranked champion because that'll be a group of 5. That's got some weird. The
Yeah.
ACC is the one that's got the weirdest. Like, I don't know.
It's
That
kind
could get
of
real squirrely.
very screwy. Yeah, for sure.
So, but I think we'll stick with the guns there. I'd be fine with either of those. Got Pitt and Virginia ACC champs, so
Yep.
I'm cool with either of those. Let's hope it goes there. But that one is one where it's just like you might as well just put a question mark because
Yep.
it's absolutely screwy. All right, brother. Let's talk games. This is our
Do it,
final
man.
full slate of the year.
Let's do
Look at
it.
all the rivalry. Look at all the hatred just flowing through. I think we are.
None of those 6 guys looked like they were happy.
Mm-mm. Shouldn't be, man. It shouldn't be. One of them is just literally the clean
Just
old
full
fashioned
of hate.
hate. It's just insane that they can name that. But dude, this I think, and I think you would agree,
Yeah.
this is what makes college football the best. The
Oh, yeah.
rivalries, the tradition, like this week is one of the best.
Yep.
So hopefully, hey, maybe you're new to
Yep.
college football and you need to get into it,
Yeah, I
or
mean,
you're a sicko like us, and this is our week.
oh yeah, I mean, I'm an Ohio guy, and obviously we have a pretty big game coming up here this weekend that we're going to talk about here in a little
Bigger
bit.
than a national championship, maybe some would say.
Well, I mean, the whole thing is like people still aren't a fan of Ryan Day just because he's lost 4 straight to that team up north. I mean, they just won a natty last year, and,
Yeah,
half of the fans here in Ohio are like, he still hasn't done shit.
that's insane. That's
You
so
know,
funny. That's so good. I love football. That's so cool.
awesome.
You literally won like the pinnacle of everything, and like your fan base is like,
Yep.
you didn't beat our rival. Who cares about a stupid trophy?
Yeah.
That's awesome. All right, brother. Let's get into this week 14 game number 1. We've got Big Ten rivalry, the Heroes game, playing for the Heroes Trophy. We've got 7-4 Iowa Hawkeyes heading to Lincoln, Nebraska to take
Yep.
on the 7-4 Cornhuskers there. This is a Friday, November 28th, 12 p.m. Eastern Time kickoff. It's going to be 31 and cloudy there in Memorial Stadium in Lincoln, Nebraska. Shout out to that fan base. Really, really good fan base after 20 plus years of pretty mediocrity.
Yeah.
But you got Iowa laying a big number here, -6.5, minus 238 on the money line. Over under sitting at 38.5. Nebraska catching the 6.5, plus 195 home dogs here. Where are we going in this one for the Heroes Trophy on the line? Both 7-4, trying to close out the season strong. The big news here: no Dylan Raiola, no Minnie Mahomes. He was ruled out for the season with a broken
That's right.
fibula.
Yep.
Are you going the Iowa Hawkeyes as the road favorite, or are you backing the home dog here on Friday night or Friday day? Excuse me.
Friday at noon. Yeah, this is
Yeah.
a Black Friday miracle for us that don't necessarily like shopping. So, looking back at this rivalry, it basically has been dominated by Iowa over the past 10 years. Looking back here, Nebraska's won in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, Nebraska's 1-9 And most of these have been close, though. Most of them are within this number. I think this is going to be a little bit different just because starting quarterback for Nebraska is out. I mean, the quarterback that Nebraska is going to be playing is going to face a pretty solid Iowa defense, and
top 10.
exactly. And overall, even though it's in Lincoln there, I just think that Iowa defense is nasty at the end of the day. I mean, just looking at the past few weeks here, I mean, Iowa's played some pretty good teams in USC and LSU and held them to 26 and 18 respectively. Last week held Michigan State to 17, who's better than they used to be. And Nebraska just lost an absolute, I mean, awful game to Penn State. I mean, Penn State is a shell of what we thought they were going to be. So, yeah, give me the Hawkeyes laying the 6.5. I think it's just going to be a little bit too much for, a first start for a quarterback over there in Nebraska.
Yeah, no, I think you said a lot of good points. I'm going to agree with you there. Iowa minus 6.5 is the little bit of a big road favorite there. One, trust the coach more, in fairness overrule there. Two, yeah, you talked about it. We're talking about a fifth-year senior in Mark Gronowski coming over from the FCS level and compared to a true freshman and quarterback TJ Lateef in his third game. Going up against this defense, a top 10 defense. No, I don't care. I understand, obviously if this was in Iowa City, I would feel a lot better in Kinnick. Being in Memorial Stadium, being the rivalry, there's a little bit of the concern there, but I still don't think Nebraska is a great team. Like I've said Cincinnati because I think that's their best win, which they're an okay team.
Way back in week 1.
Right, all the way back in week 1. When you look at Nebraska, they kept it respectable against USC, 21-17 at home, but that was with Raiola, right? And then you look at the two games, you go on the road at UCLA. UCLA again, they're I don't even think Nico was playing in that game. They have been a real bad impact where they started the year. And then Penn State, I mean, to get beat by 27 by a Penn State team that Iowa already beat this year. And yeah, sure, they have talent, but they don't have their starting quarterback as well. So, I think it's a situation where you have a really good defense. It's going to be a cold game, 31 and cloudy. And Iowa's a better rushing team. Iowa has a better defense. So give me Iowa minus the 6.5. It is a big number for such a low total, but give me a 17-10 game. Iowa guts it out there. I just really think Iowa collectively through the season is a much better team. Between the Oregon game, the USC game, they were up by double digits. Oregon, they were up in the last minute of the game.
Close one in another rivalry against Iowa State.
Right. They were really a lot closer than I mean, they it's amazing they didn't win one of those 3 games. The way that kind of went down. So I just think they're a much better team. So give me Iowa there. So we're agreeing on the first one here. We agreed a lot last week and it came through for us. So let's see if we can keep it rolling. All right, on to the 3:30 slate on Friday, November 28th. We've got the clean, old-fashioned hate here in the state of Georgia. We've got the number 4 team in the land, the 10-1 Georgia Bulldogs, taking on the 9-2. I think they're number 16. They were. I mean, the rankings are all over the place at this point, but they're wherever they are at this point. But Georgia Tech. The Yellow Jackets there coming off their loss to our Pittsburgh Panthers that we called out last week. This unfortunately is being played in the Mercedes-Benz Dome, which is an absolute travesty. Last year, this game was played between the Hedgens and Athens, Georgia. I think Georgia Tech needs to stop acting like a little brother and do it home and home. That's a shame that this game is not in Bobby Dodd Stadium. So I know that AD is no longer with this program. I think he's over at Michigan State, but absolute shame. Stop doing this dumb shit of playing in the dome. I've been to Mercedes-Benz. It's a nice stadium, but that's not what college football is about.
Invited 40,000 extra Georgia Bulldog fans.
You're not gonna have the crowd. You do not have the crowd.
No doubt. No doubt.
Not have the crowd.
It's absolutely insane. I mean, even in Bobby Dodd, I don't know how much or how many people that stadium holds, but you're gonna sell that out with Georgia Tech fans, right? You're gonna have
huge game.
You're gonna have the majority there. Here, you're probably looking at 70-30.
Right. You're lucky if you get a split. If you get a split, that's a win for a game that's supposed to be a home game for you. That's a shame. So, and then maybe that bakes into the line here, but Georgia laying 13.5 on the road, right? Neutral site game.
Right.
Over under sitting at 59.5. Georgia minus 575 on the money line. Georgia Tech plus 425 on this neutral site. It's a dome, so no need to concern about weather.
Nope.
In Mercedes-Benz Stadium, Atlanta, Georgia. There it is Friday, so the Chick-fil-A will be open in that stadium. Good food in there. I've had that a couple times. Pretty drunk. So, all right. Back when Florida used to actually play meaningful games. So, where are you going in this one? 13.5 is a shit ton of points, but Georgia's looked really good, as painful as it is to say, the past couple of weeks. And obviously, Georgia Tech coming off a blowout from our Pitt Panthers. Where are you going?
Well, yeah, I mean, they should look pretty damn good against Charlotte. I mean,
Okay,
in general, they should look pretty good against Charlotte. I mean, Georgia Tech was in a tough spot last week, going up against the Panthers, who basically it's now pretty clear that Coach Dews did not care about that Notre Dame game. They were really locked into that Georgia Tech game, Miami game here this week, and I mean, Georgia Tech came up and Pitt beat them. But at the same time, I think if we look at the quarterback play, or I guess it was at Georgia Tech. If we look at quarterback play, I'm taking Haynes King over Gunnar Stockton every day of the week, twice on Saturday. I mean, Haynes King's a dog. And I think this Georgia team has struggled at times to run the ball consistently.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, where the biggest difference is. I mean, Haynes King is a major threat running the ball. You still have Justice Hayes down there.
Yep.
And then is it Forsley or Hosley or they have a second running back that's pretty good as well for Georgia Tech. So, yeah. So I mean, I think Georgia Tech's definitely going to try to keep this thing. Yeah, Georgia Tech's going to keep this thing close just by slowing the game down and pounding the rock. I mean, they can throw the ball just as well as Georgia can, but I think that plays into the way that they like to play. Is just kind of like, hey, let's slow this thing down, let's slug it out, and have a shot, over there at Mercedes-Benz. So, give me Georgia Tech and the points in this one.
Yeah, this was a little bit harder than I would have liked for it to be. Again, the neutral site worries me a little bit.
Yep.
But ultimately, I think 13.5 is too many points. It's a rivalry game. Yep. We saw this game last year, 8 overtime game, that if you watch the game, Georgia Tech was the better team on the field that day.
Yep.
I understand not always the better team wins, but we're talking 13.5 points here. Yep. Now, I do think Georgia Tech is live in this game. I would have loved it a lot more if it was at Bobby Dodd, but it is what it is. Definitely. So Georgia, look, their defense is not what they once were. I understand statistically, they're still an okay defense against the run. They're top 10 there, but I think Gunnar Stockton, really where you can take advantage of this Georgia Tech defense is if you have a good quarterback and you have good wide receivers. And look, Zachariah Branch is a good player. He is a good wide receiver. He's explosive. Obviously, someone you gotta rally and make tackles, right? Yep. But Gunnar Stockton, a lot of what he does is on the ground. And Haynes King, for as much as Haynes King leads his team in rushing, right, with 883 yards. Gunnar Stockton has less passing yards on the year than Haynes King. Now they're close. There is what it is, but I would take Mason Heinschel from a pure throwing perspective.
Oh yeah,
over Gunnar Stockton, which was the big reason we were on Pitt last week, is because when you have a dynamic passer, you can take advantage of this Georgia Tech secondary.
Yeah,
I don't think Gunnar Stockton has that same ability. He's not a slouch, but a lot of what he is a gamer, and a lot of what that is pulling the ball down and running. And I think if you're doing that, you're playing into Georgia Tech's hand and you're slowing the game down. So I think from the rivalry aspect, and then I like your statement about King, versus Stockton there. Look, I think
as well, Georgia Tech was pretty obviously looking ahead at this
Mhm.
game. Like
Mhm.
they want to take down the big brother in this
It was
case in the
8
Bulldog.
overtimes last year. I mean, they were right
Yeah.
at the doorstep in Athens,
Yep.
right? So, you got to imagine the split, even if it's at neutral, is going to be at least a little bit better than when it was between the hedges last year.
Right.
So, Brent Key's a good coach. I think Haynes King, they know. And last thing, this is it for Georgia Tech college football playoff wise.
Right.
If you win this game,
Definitely.
you're 10-2, Georgia's 10-2, and you have a head-to-head win. I
Right.
don't know how the committee rationalizes themselves. They probably will, but how they rationalize themselves to put Georgia Tech or Georgia in over Georgia with a head-to-head win in the same record.
Right.
So give me Georgia Tech plus 13.5 as well. Too many points in that one. So we'll be back
Gotta
in the
love a little
fall.
chaos going into
Got
rivalry week
to.
as
I
well.
mean, that's what happens, man. Year in and year out. Like
Yep.
you can't just say better team, better record. Like college, they're kids.
Yep.
They're college kids. Like tradition, rivalry, shit matters. So,
Yep.
very excited for this game though, and I hope it delivers as much as it did last year. All right, last game of the Friday slate, game number 3, another hated
Another big one.
rivalry, the Lone Star Showdown, another one with college football playoff application and implications. Excuse me. You've got Friday, November 28th, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. You got the 11-0 Texas A&M Aggies taking on the 8-3 Texas Longhorns. Texas A&M laying 2.5 as a small road favorite, -130 on the money line. Over under sitting at 51.5. Texas catching 2.5, +110 home dogs. It's going to be 61 and cloudy in DKR, Texas Memorial Stadium there in Austin,
Yep.
Texas. So should be beautiful weather in this one. Where are you going here in this Lone Star Showdown game that, for a lot, look ahead line, I think was like Texas was laying almost 2 touchdowns here earlier on. A&M, all
Going
they do is
into the
win,
year,
man.
yeah. Yeah, no, I think this one's gonna be this is probably the toughest one on our card here for me. Because at one point, I mean, Texas has been playing a lot better as of late, and Texas A&M at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if they win or lose or draw in this game. They're going to be in the SEC championship. They're going to be
Yeah,
in the
they'll be in
college
the
football
playoff.
playoff. It
Yep,
really doesn't matter much.
they'll be in the playoff.
And
Yep.
then going down to Texas, this is their college football playoff at this point. They're fighting for their lives down there in Austin. But at the same time, I think that Texas A&M defense is one of the best in the country. I think their offensive line is one of the best in the country, and Texas's offense and defensive line have showed some holes throughout the year. So I think going back to your comments as far as Gunnar Stockton being a gamer, Marcel Reed is an absolute stud. And I think he's going to be able to put up enough points to get the win as well as the cover in this one. So give me the Aggies laying the points.
Yep. I love Texas A&M here. I get it from a standpoint of, Texas, what are they coming off a bye or no, they played Arkansas
They
and then
played
A&M
Arkansas. A&M basically
played
is coming off a bye.
Stanford.
They
Yeah.
played Samford.
Good call. Yeah, there. But I understand that like the committee is doing everything they can to keep Texas relevant by
Yep.
saying, they're keeping them close enough where they would have a shot if they win this game. I
Right.
think as a 3-loss team, they should be out because they've lost to every good team they've played. And that's kind of the big point I'm going to make here.
Yeah.
At Ohio State, right? At Florida, and
Yep.
then losing at Georgia. I understand those are all at the road. This game's at home, but
Yep.
the only good team I think that they've actually beaten
Oklahoma.
is I'm going to say Vanderbilt because I
Okay.
think the
Yeah.
Oklahoma game was when Mateer shouldn't have been playing. He was 2 weeks
That's
off
true.
of hand surgery when the
True.
initial prognosis was a month.
Yeah.
I think that was more the fault of that and what all the turnovers and everything that happened. But yeah, I mean they won that game, so yeah, maybe you can say that as well with the Oklahoma. But I think that's
Yeah.
Oklahoma with the quarterback with legit one hand. I think the Vanderbilt win was more impressive to me. But meanwhile, all Texas A&M has done is win, and I think the big thing here is like.
And for the most part, pretty convincingly outside of that South Carolina
Mhm.
comeback win. I mean,
And they
it was
don't need to
Arkansas
win by much
bringing them
here.
to the
It's
card.
two and
Yeah.
a half, right? We're
Right.
saying we're saying under the field, within by a field goal at least, which I think is typically where it will be.
Yeah.
So and I think the big thing is I've talked about it before. Why are we Sark? What has he done in big games?
Yeah.
He's disappointed every time. Arch Manning this year, what has he done in big games? He's disappointed against good defenses, right?
Yep.
That's a Georgia secondary that has been susceptible. DJ Lagway made them look, pedestrian, right? Which he hasn't done that against many this year. And to come up and just kind of lay duds in these big spots. This Texas A&M defensive line, their O line is really good as well, but their D line going up against this Texas offense line is bad. Arch is on his back all the time, and I think Arch needs to be playing better as well. But like, he's getting no help. He's not getting the time. Like, that's not happening in this game. Like, Cassius Howell and that D line, man. Good luck. Good luck. Give me Texas A&M. I love A&M here. The only thing is like the angle of the outside of the conspiracy of how are they going to get Texas in the playoff.
Sure.
But other than that, man, statistically, just eye test the entire season, Texas A&M is a way better team. I believe Texas A&M is a top 3 team in college football.
Yeah.
I don't even think Texas is a top 25 team. So for me, from that aspect, and I know I get it, it is the rivalry, yada yada yada. But no, give me an A&M. I just think they're that much better of a team. I trust Elko way more than I trust Sark here. A lot of agreeing. We've started the show agreeing. We'll see if we agree on this one, because now we're going to the Saturday slate, and it's the game. It is
the game.
Maybe the biggest game in college football. The way we both grew up, probably in our households. So Saturday, November 29th, 12 p.m. Eastern time. It is Ohio State heading to Ann Arbor. The number 1 Buckeyes at 11-0. They are laying 10, minus 395, road favorites against a team they have lost to 4 times in a row in the Michigan Wolverines, 9-2. They are catching 10 are the Wolverines, and they're plus 310 home dogs. Over-under sitting at 43.5. There's going to be 30 degrees games with a chance of snow. Talking about some flurries and some rain a little bit there in Michigan Stadium, in Ann Arbor. Where are we going here for this one?
All right. So,
Mr. Buckeye.
This is a tough one. Just because, the history tells you that Michigan's going to keep this one close. They've won 4 in a row. I mean, the Buckeyes haven't won in over 2,000 days against that team up north.
Right.
Overall, Michigan's looked okay throughout the majority of the season. I don't know, what their best win would necessarily be either at this point, because neither of these teams had to play Oregon or Indiana, which are kind of the other 2 big teams in the Big Ten at this point. But
right.
At the end of the day, I think this being in the big house is what separates this game. I think Ohio State has to get the monkey off their back at some point. And I think, last year, everybody thought that Ohio State was going to kick their ass at home. They don't have to play in front of their home fans. They're just playing with free money at this point up there in Ann Arbor in front of 110,000. So I ended up getting Ohio State at 9.5 earlier this week.
Okay.
But my play for the card here is actually the over 43.5. Because, I think the biggest change between last year and this year is Matt, my boy Matty P. Matt Patricia is an absolute dog, and especially with a true freshman quarterback in Bryce Underwood, I don't necessarily think that they're going to put up a ton of points, but I think they will. I think Julian Sayin has been playing some pretty good ball. I would not be surprised if something were to go awry at some point and gives Michigan some good field position, gets them on the board. I'm seeing this as like a, 24-17 kind of a game. So I don't think you can see it as that. 24-13. 24-13. No, 24-13. Let's go 24-13. Buckeyes win. But yeah, I think everybody in the brother is going to be on the under, because Michigan's better side of the ball is their defense. Ohio State has the best defense in the country. I think this is where betting instincts is just telling me this one's going to go over. In 2 of the last 3 years, this would have gone over. Last year was a close one, but give me the over 43.5.
Look, I know I've been drinking, but I think you've been drinking because your score prediction of what 24-13.
I can't do math.
Yeah, that doesn't. That's not. It's
I'm a
not a.
professor of
But
exercise science and a
I'll.
doctor of
I
physical
will let.
therapy. I
Yeah,
don't do math very often
for
at all.
very convoluted explanation. Derek's on
Whatever.
Ohio State
I don't know.
minus 10, minus
30,
9.5.
31-17.
For sure. That gets it. So he's on the over and
31-17.
Ohio State.
I can't
I'll
do
keep
math.
mine. I'll keep mine much more a little bit more concise and hopefully more clear. I'm actually going the other way there. I'm gonna fade my friend. Give me under 43.5. Yeah, maybe I'll be a donkey in this one. This one's tough. So I don't I don't love this. I love this game. So I wanted to talk about it, especially with you. And I think you're undefeated picking the Buckeyes. I think this is the third time we've talked Buckeyes this year. Only 3 because they don't fucking play anybody. But hey, this is the chance. But my concern here is I don't feel great about either side. I think that it's hard to lay double digits with Ohio State with given the recent history. But on the other aspect, like Michigan hasn't. Neither of these teams have extremely impressed me this year. Obviously, Ohio State's been much more dominant. Michigan hasn't really played anybody either. So I'm going to the under 43.5. I think Matt Patricia takes the true freshman quarterback and confuses him and makes him whatever. No, I think
Brutus
what
agrees.
Justice Haynes. Yeah, I understand. Get the little fucker out of there. No, Jamal Haynes. And which one's the? It's
Justice Haynes.
Justice Haynes. Jamal.
Yeah.
They were Georgia Tech and talking
Jordan
about them.
Mason's a pretty solid back too, but Justice Haynes being out for this one
I think that is
is
big.
is big.
And I think the weather, man, it's talking 30 degrees, chance for snow.
There was snow
I
a
think
couple
that's
years
going
ago
to keep
too,
it.
and it still went over.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. You're right. You're right. But I think Colonel Tate and Jeremiah Smith, I do think they both play ultimately, but they are got to be a little banged up to not play last week. So I just think that Michigan, the
Yeah,
only way
that
that
was
they could,
that they were playing Rutger in that one.
yeah. Well,
Rutger
I mean, hey,
Rutger doesn't even get their S at this point because they've sucked so much.
you better be careful. They're gonna beat Maryland and they're gonna ruin your future.
Nope.
But hey, yeah, give me the under 43.5. I think it's a close game. Last year was 10-13. I don't think it's gonna be quite that low, but I do see something like, I will say I'll take your 21-13 prediction there. I do think it's a lower scoring game. I think the Ohio State's inability to run the ball at times can be big. And I think Michigan's inability to just run an effective offense, period, at times has me scared against the number one defense in the country. So give me the under 43.5, but this is definitely not one that I am locking up or taking to the bank. All right. Next game on the slate, number 5. Last 2 games, we'll do our best bets and get on out of here. Saturday, November 27th, also at 12 p.m. Eastern time, sticking in that slate there. We've got a huge one in the ACC. We've got the 9-2 Miami Hurricanes at number 12, who the committee's trying to squeeze in there, even though they're very unlikely to make the ACC championship. Versus the 8-3 Pittsburgh Panthers there, who had a huge win against Georgia Tech last week. Miami on the road here in Acrisure Stadium in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. They're laying 7. They're minus 270 on the money line there. Over under sitting on 50.5. Pitt catching the 7 points plus 220 home dogs. It's going to be cold, 34 and partly cloudy there in a rivalry that's been going on since 1950. Where are we going into this one between Pitt and Miami?
Yeah, I mean we've talked about some of my points already. I mean, Coach Dews came out 2 weeks ago and said, "I don't care if Notre Dame beats us by 100. It only matters if we beat Georgia Tech and Miami at the end of the year." And I think that's what the plan was all along, was to put all the eggs in the basket to try to get in the college football playoff, win the ACC, and go on a little bit of a run here. And at the end of the day, Miami has looked fraudulent on the road a couple times throughout the season.
Yeah.
And this one's in Pittsburgh, and you just mentioned it. It's going to be 34 freaking degrees. Like these boys from South Beach don't know what 34-degree weather feels like.
No.
So give me the Pitt Panthers no, I'm getting points in this one. But yeah, Pitt's definitely live in this one to take this one home.
Yeah, I think this one's pretty easy. I mean, what Miami with Cristobal, the past really 20 years.
Well, yeah, but at the same time, like Coach Dews going for that fake punt last week. Did you hear his comments earlier this week?
Yes, he's
He's
very
like,
dumb,
I'm
dude.
basically just a
This
dumbass.
is an idiot. Yeah, he is. He's an idiot. He is an idiot. But he's so far he's been 2 for 2 to his word, right? He
Yeah.
said we're gonna get our ass kicked by Notre Dame. Check.
Yep.
We're gonna beat Georgia Tech. Check. We're gonna beat Miami. So I'll trust him there.
Yeah.
But yeah, he is a fool. Both these coaches have idiot potential very high. But I actually trust Narduzzi as a dog. When he's a
Yes.
favorite is when you want to run away. But plus the 7 at home, cold weather. Yeah, no, Miami beginning of the year looked like world beaters, and then they
Yep.
left the state of Florida, and
Yep.
then yeah, all of a sudden things started to happen, right? So I think the past couple weeks they've looked very suspect. Past 2 games on the road, they lost at SMU in overtime, and then even the Virginia Tech game. Watching that game, Virginia Tech was in it. Virginia Tech just made dumb turnovers and mistakes like they've done all year.
Yep.
But Pitt, yeah, I mean, I get it. Notre Dame came into town and took care of business. I think Notre Dame is a team that's gotten better throughout the year, and I
Yep.
think Miami is the opposite. I think Miami's actually kind
Agreed.
of gotten worse throughout the year, and ACC for whatever reasons is tough for them to be able to handle. So maybe it's the weather, maybe it's travel, whatever it is. I will be on the Pittsburgh Panthers here plus the 7. I think they're absolutely live in this one. That secondary is much like Georgia Tech's
Yep.
vulnerable at times if you have the quarterback who can get it done.
Yep.
And then on the other side, that linebacking core, the Sharks there in Pittsburgh,
Oh yeah.
they're a disruptive bunch. And I've seen Carson Beck have backbreaking turnovers, right?
Mm-hmm.
I am
Yep.
expecting at least 2 Carson Beck turnovers, and I think this home crowd for Pitt is going to get
The
these boys
defense is
going.
hungry.
And they're going to get cold, and they're going to be like, "Fuck this! I don't want to do this." So give us both the Pitt Panthers here. I love Pitt here again. We were on them last week; they came through. Let's hope they do it this week.
That's right.
All right, last game on the slate here, another rivalry game. One that has no real official title on Saturday, November 29th, 3:30 p.m. Eastern time. We've got 9-2 Vanderbilt, the Commodores taking on the 8-3 Tennessee Volunteers. Vanderbilt, a small road dog, +3, +124 on the money line. Over under sitting at 65.5.
Yep.
Tennessee -3, -148. Home favorite there, small favorite. I've seen some I-40 Cup or Smoky Mountain Bowl, no official name, but this has been going on
Right.
since 1892. So don't worry, just because there's no name doesn't mean there's a lot of hate there. It's going to be 49 degrees and cloudy in Neyland Stadium, Knoxville, Tennessee. Nothing really, too crazy for the team. This is big,
Massive.
Tennessee has a chance to play spoiler to their arch rival.
Yep.
Vanderbilt has a chance to keep their college football playoff hopes alive and well.
Yeah.
A 10-2 Vanderbilt team with some solid wins in the SEC, I think would be hard to keep out. Where are you going in this one? I mean, obviously Tennessee coming off of that beat down of the Florida Gators, get that monkey off their back.
Yep.
And then Vanderbilt handled business at home against Kentucky. Where are we at?
Yeah, I mean, I think we've kind of talked about this game a few times already in
Yeah.
past weeks. I think the Tennessee gets it done and beats Vanderbilt. Keeps the title of best college football program in the state of Tennessee alive, and basically it comes down to I think Tennessee's offense is better. I think Tennessee can put up points with anybody. Vanderbilt at times, Diego Pavia is a dog, but I think they've looked suspect at times throughout this season, and I think the Tennessee's offense is just going to put up way too many points. I don't know if Andy can necessarily go tick for tack with Tennessee. Both defenses are kind of middle of the road at the end of the day. So yeah, Tennessee at home in Neyland. Give me the Vols.
Yeah. Completely disagree with this one. This is one I feel strongly on. I cannot believe you are fading Diego Pavia in what is potentially maybe his last regular season college football game.
He's got three or four more years.
Yeah, really. You'll see. But give me the Vanderbilt +3. Give me the Commodores there. No shot, dude. Look, Tennessee, get it. They got the Florida monkey off their back in the swamp. You want to talk about fraudulent. This is Tennessee team, man. Let's look at like any good team they've played this year. They've lost to. They lost at home against Georgia in overtime by 3. They lost on the road against Alabama. and they lost at home against Tennessee. Alabama beat them by 17. Oklahoma beat them by, 6?
6.
Their wins, Syracuse. Okay, Syracuse is a bottom AAC team. East Tennessee, UAB, Mississippi State, Arkansas, Kentucky, New Mexico, and Florida. Even if we just talk about the SEC, Florida, Kentucky, Arkansas, Mississippi State, bottom of the league.
Yeah.
Bottom of the league. Meanwhile, Vanderbilt, I think has a much more impressive resume. I trust their quarterback more. I think their coach, Clark Lee, I think he's better than Heupel. I know that's a little bit controversial there, but they've beaten LSU. They've beaten Missouri. They've beaten, Auburn's a bottom feeder this year as well, but they've beaten South Carolina when they were ranked 11th, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I get it. They both lost to Auburn. They lost on the road at Texas. So, I do think it'll be a close game, but I think Vanderbilt pulls it out. They've had this scheduled. They've talked about it. Diego Pavia has talked about it since the beginning of the year that they're going into Tennessee and they're beating the Volunteers this season. I think they get it done, and I think they're live. I think that there's no shot I'm fading Diego Pavia in this one. I think Tennessee is still very fraudulent. Good win last week. Sure. Fuck you guys. But give me Vanderbilt.
Yeah, no, I think ultimately these are two very similar teams, two similar programs. I think one has a 3-point loss, a 6-point loss, and a 17-point loss. The other one has a 3-point loss and a 16-point loss.
Right.
The 16 and 17 were to the same team, both on the road at Bama. So, at the end of the day, this is primarily a
power of Neyland.
Yep. We're in Neyland, and to your point, Pavia has been talking about this for 3 months now. Stick that all over every single bulletin board you got at
That's
this
true.
point if you're Heupel there. So
it is rivalry week, man. All right, here we go. Best bets section of the show. What is your lock for college football week 14, last full slate of the year?
Yeah, it's the Vols -3 at home in Neyland. I think this is going to come down to last minute attempt to either tie the game or take the lead, and Tennessee's going to come away with a stop, or they're going to take the lead and end up winning this one. So I think this is like a 3 to 4 point game. Power Neyland. Give me Tennessee.
Okay, there you go. Power Neyland. All right, for myself, give me the Texas A&M Aggies -2.5 there in the Lonestar Showdown in Austin, Texas. I think it's so much better of a team. I do not think Texas is good. I think Steve Sarkisian shits the bed in every big game. Arch Manning against any solid defense with the pulse has turned into a pumpkin. And I think they could just run the ball down their throats and just, through the turnovers that are inevitably going to come. I don't think this is a very good Texas team this year. I think Texas A&M is a true top 3 team in the country. So give me the A&M as the lock of the week for myself. Who's your money line dog here?
Give me the Pitt Panthers at home.
Love it.
Laying or getting 7 points. I think that Miami, like you said, is a team that if they get down, they quit, and especially in a cold environment, I expect that to happen. So give me Pitt on the money line at +220.
Now that is a great pick. That is a good pick. All right, I will fade your lock. And I see your Tennessee -3, and I raise you Vanderbilt money line +124. No way Diego Pavia is losing his final game in college. I love Clark Lee and what he's doing there in Vanderbilt. I think it's a very veteran team. I think they got a lot of seniors, 50-year seniors, however old Pavia is. And I think that they've been circling this game all year. So give me Vanderbilt to keep their player hope alive and take down the Volunteers and Neyland Stadium there. And it's fuck Tennessee still this week for me. So give me Vandy money line. What's the tease?
All right, let's take Iowa down to a pick. Georgia Tech up to 19.5, and then Ohio State, I'll take them down to -3.5 at +1.
Okay. Yeah, I like it. I will start my tease the same way. Yeah, give me Iowa, taking them down there. I'll take Vanderbilt +9. I'll take Texas A&M across 0 and go +3.5 there for the +140. For my parlay, I don't believe you have one this week, correct?
Correct. Yes.
All right, I will have one because it's the last full slate, so I'd be fucking crazy to not go out with a little bit of degeneracy here. Give me Iowa, Texas A&M, and Pitt all on the money line. I think Iowa and Texas A&M, as I've said, take care of business, and I agree with you. I think Pitt is extremely live in this game. That's a juicy 7-1 at plus 704 there. So the quick recap here. Let's see. Poor Professor Locks there. He's got Texas minus the 3 is the lock. He's got Pitt as the money line dog at plus 220. And then the tees, Iowa, Georgia Tech, and Ohio State there, plus 140, 6-point tees. For myself, A&M as the lock, short dog, or short favorite there at the 2.5 in Texas. Give me Vanderbilt on the money line, plus 124. And Iowa, Vanderbilt, Texas A&M, 6-point tees at plus 140. And then my parlay, DGen parlay for the week is Iowa, Texas A&M, and Pittsburgh. Money line at plus 704. All right, brother. We hit the hour mark. It's time for us to get the fuck out of here.
Wait, hold on. I got one thing.
Oh, boy. Here we go.
I would like to raise a toast, and I'm going to do it by Owens!
Oh, God. Look, that was
it is a great week, man. It is a
great week. Yes, for those that don't know, yes, for old Professor Locke's wedding, I did a toast and I put down my allegiances and didn't want to get jumped during the toast. So I knew I was in Buckeye country, so I conceded that. But hey, man, good luck to you.
I'm bringing you over to the good side.
Look, man, just keep the points down and I'll be okay this week, okay? But all right, brother, what do you got for the people before we get the fuck out of here?
Yeah, we got the NFL show. We're recording that right after this. We got a bunch of Thursday games. We got a Friday game. We got a full slate on Sunday. So we got our NFL show there. I'm assuming you're still doing your injury report.
Yeah, I'll do it
tomorrow night.
Thursday morning, probably.
Talking defensive injuries, offensive injuries over on the sister station IDP Plus. So that way we're locked and ready to go fantasy wise and prop wise.
Yeah, as Derek mentioned, apologize for the scheduling snafu, but you're drinking and want to get away from your family anyway this week. So we're going to be the college show. Hopefully get this turned around here pretty soon. And then we're going to go right into recording the NFL show. So both shows will be out tonight, Wednesday night. So you have all the things that you need to make this Thanksgiving feast week a very profitable and enjoy some family fun and degeneracy, because football is the greatest sport in the world. And we're going to be covering it all the fucking time. Hey, folks, we appreciate you. And if you want to show that Thanksgiving gratitude and love that's flowing right now, a like and a simple subscribe. We are itching our way towards 1,000 subscribers. That's the goal for the season. We've done a lot of great work so far. And hey, if you like, whether it's just us talking shit, talking ball, or if you made some money off the picks, that's the goal, man. So, hey, you know what they say. A lock a day keeps the bookie away. And here at the GN Docs, we've got your prescription. From Professor Locks and Doc here on DFSG Plus, we are out of here.